I am so excited. I finally got that really cheap discount spool I ordered from China. Bright orange. I think I made a mistake. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Layered Wisdom. Today, I want to talk about filaments. Far and away, the most expensive thing that you will spend outside of the cost of your printer itself is filament. That's because it's the thing that we use up. It's, as we would say, a consumable. So it makes sense to have a good idea of what's worth your money and worth your time when it comes to buying filament. As you can see, I have quite a few of these things sitting around in my office, and I've tried filaments from a lot of different manufacturers. So what I want to share with you today is what I think are some of the best filaments, what are the varieties that are out there for you, and what I would recommend that you not look at. Here's a list of all the filaments I currently have in my inventory. And most of these are familiar manufacturers. There's a few on there that you might go, I've never heard of them before. So let me walk you through some of the top tier ones, if you will, and give you the pros and cons of each one of them. Of course, I want to start with Bamboo Lab. Obviously, I've got a Bamboo printer, and I've got a fair amount of Bamboo Lab filament. And what's interesting about this is that probably the main reason why I got Bamboo filament is the fact that the AMS unit that sits on the printer can read the tag that's in the spool and inform the software as to what it is. So when I put a roll of, say, PETG on there from Bamboo, it knows that I put PETG on there. It even knows what color it is. And this shows up on my feed. Like I said, I've got a Bamboo printer, so obviously I've looked at Bamboo filaments. I also have an Elegoo printer, so I have looked at Elegoo filaments. So let's take a look at the Elegoo variety. Elegoo has a large number and a large type of different filaments. They have a good variety in PLA, lots of different matte, silk, all the things that you would look for. They have a fairly good selection when it comes to PETG and TPU as well. And like Bamboo, they offer their filament in bulk discount as you buy it. They do not have RFID tags on it, although and sure enough, I no sooner recorded this than I read that Elegoo has introduced smart RFID tagging for the Centauri Carbon 2. And the cool thing about it is that it is going to be open sourced. Yay for Elegoo. Now, of course, Elegoo filament can be used on any printer. It's not like you're limited. The same thing is true with Bamboo. I can take my Bamboo filter and put it on my Centauri Carbon, and I can take Elegoo filament and I can put it on my Bamboo. In fact, one of the best filaments that I've found that I use a lot in Elegoo is their PETG, and they have one that's called Rapid PETG, which again means that it comes out of the nozzle faster, which means that your prints take less time. The other thing that's really nice is that I have an Elegoo transparent PETG as well, which I have used for some items around here like this dryer box. Zach Friedman has an excellent video where he goes through a bunch of different types of filaments and ranks them according to a scale as far as usability and quality. And I've linked that in the description for you. Next, we come to what I would call the mother lode of all filament makers, and that's Polymaker. Now, Polymaker themselves doesn't make a printer, but they make filaments in a huge variety. In fact, in their PLA, they've changed the name to Panchroma, and they have this huge selection of colors. And not only that, here, as you can see on this Amazon page, they have the hex code for the color. So if you want to see what it looks like from a color standpoint, or if you're looking for something that's close to a particular color that you already have, this is where I would start in looking at this. In addition to having the different colors in the PLA, they also have multiple functional types in PLA. I can't even begin to list them all. I've just run them through here on the screen so that you can see the wide variety that they have. Let me pause here for a second because I forgot something. Wood filament. Yes, this is filament that actually has wood pieces or wood powder in it. And of all the different manufacturers that I've used wood filament from, it's Bamboo that actually has the best wood filament. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that as well. Again, like Elegoo and Bamboo, Polymaker offers their filament in bulk so that you can get discounts on it if you buy a lot. And of course, like anything else, it's usable on other printers. I've had no problems using this on my Bamboo and no problems using this on my Centauri Carbon. It does not have an RFID tag on it, but again, that only really counts if you've got the Bamboo AMS printers. Let me just briefly walk through some of the other ones that I have on my list. FlashForge, which of course makes printers, has their own filament, and I've got one or two of theirs. And specifically for them, what I was looking for was a particular color or a particular type, which is why I got that filament. Another one that's got a fairly good variety of filaments in both style and color is Overture. And Overture is probably one of the highest rated filaments that's out there as far as quality and accuracy as well. You'll also see some from Sunlu and from eSun. These are really good filaments. And specifically, the reason why I have them is I'm looking for a particular color, a particular type, and they just happen to have these. Or in some cases, they just happen to be cheaper. And I really haven't had any problems with those filaments. The last one on the list up here is Amelin, and I've only gotten their silk filaments. And in particular, I have their translucent silk, and I've got one that is this beautiful glow-in-the-dark blue filament. I think if I can show you here a demo of how that looks. And again, that's coming from Amelin. One thing I wanted to mention is that occasionally you'll run into a spool from a manufacturer where the diameter of the hole is slightly larger than the spindle on the AMS. And so what can happen is that the spool will fall off the AMS, which can scare you and probably ruin your print. So what you'll need is an adapter. And there's various adapters available on MakerWorld. If you're talking like for eSun or Anycubic or the like, anytime you've got a spool that just doesn't quite fit, check to see if there's a adapter for it on MakerWorld. So then the question is, what should you avoid? Well, really, if you're looking for filament, say you're going to Amazon and you're saying, I'm looking for, let's just say orange filament. Here, I'll just type in orange PLA and I get a list of stuff that's coming back. You really want to try and avoid no-name manufacturers or stuff that's coming probably from China that's been built and put together and sent over. And again, the reason why you tend to avoid that is because of quality issues. One thing in particular that you'll find that can happen with filament, it is very specific as to its size. It's 1.75 millimeters. And if that filament size varies even just a little, it will get stuck in the extruder and either break or jam your extruder, which is something that you don't want to have happen. So we look for quality filament. We tend to stay away from these no-name filaments. Speaking of one that I really have had no experience with, and next time I'm out, I'm going to buy some, and I'll let you know what I think. And that's Hobby Lobby, of all places, is selling printer filament, and for a fairly good price as well. Here's some. Although I will have to tell you that the couple of times I've been out at a Hobby Lobby, they have been out of stock. So obviously people are looking at this and picking it up, probably because of the price. Another thing that I wanted to mention is when it comes to buying filament, how much is in a spool of filament? This one right here, fresh out of the bag that I just got, some Elegoo Rapid Pet G Transparent. Average size for these is 1,000 grams or 1 kilogram. And you want to pay attention to this when you are buying filament, because there are some manufacturers that sell filament in 3 kilogram rolls. These are designed for people that have print farms where they're printing a bunch of stuff on a daily basis, so they need a lot of filament so they don't have to change it. Those are not going to really work on AMS unit printers like the Bamboo. I could put a 3K roll of filament on my Centauri Carbon, but I usually don't need that much filament. Also, if you go the other direction, be careful, because there are some manufacturers, I've seen this with the Amylin silk filaments, where the spool sizes are actually less than 1 kilogram. In particular, here's one where you get 4 spools, but they're only 250 grams of filament each. Now you may ask, well, how do I know how much filament I'm going to need for any particular project? Anytime that you have a model up here in the slicer, like I have here, when you actually slice it, you'll see that over here, it shows you how much filament is actually going to be used by the model. So you can get an idea, if you're going to be printing some stuff, as to how much filament you have. Also, as I have done a lot of times, and I'm getting low on a roll, I'm down to like the tail end of my black filament. Do I have enough? I go and check the model to see that, yes, it has just enough to finish this print. So in conclusion, like I say, you really can't go wrong if you stick with the major brands. And this little graphic here is a list of all of the top 20 filament manufacturers. And the bigger the word, the more sales that they have. And there's names on here I don't even recognize as far as filament manufacturers are concerned. But stick with the top ones, like we see Elegoo there, Overture, Polymaker, and Bamboo themselves, and you really won't have any problems. Well, thanks for watching. I hope that's giving you a little bit more knowledge on where you can buy filament, whose filament you should buy, and more importantly, what you should do to keep your filament so that it stays in a good printable shape. So happy printing, and we'll see you next time.